allegiance. Everyone stand up and say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Nice job, everyone. Now get out there and explore, discover, and create. Broadcast Cow out.
T Cowboy, the Kevin Allen Show welcomes you to today's show. So, sit back, relax, and put your thinking caps on, and remember to share, like, and subscribe.
And welcome to the Friday edition here of the Kevin Allen Show. And we are really happy you're all going to check us out today. And of course, this Friday finished up a crazy week for us. We were on the road all last week. We talked a lot about it out at Asbury University in Kentucky. What an amazing experience we had out there. And I know I want to get right to my first guest here, my only guest today. You know, I saved this Friday, no matter what. Raven's got Fridays right here from Texas. So let's bring our good friend Raven on. Of course, Raven is down in Texas smiling. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you, Kevin. I missed you.
I missed you too. So we're not going anywhere. We're just getting this whole thing all worked out and getting it a little better improved. I talked about my trip down to Asbury University, not down, but I guess down and over Kentucky. And what an amazing experience. And I'd like to get your thoughts as we get into so many topics. What's your thoughts about what took place in Kentucky with the students inspiring the world to go to prayer? Your thoughts?
Absolutely amazing. It's proof that prayer works. It's something I've been saying all the time. You know, if we were meant to be robots, we wouldn't have a Bible. We have a guide. And it's really great to know you're not alone. I'm really proud of these students for standing up for their faith, standing up for, you know, what they believe, and showing the world how to try to make a change. No violence, no cursing, no threats, no ideology, just, you know, getting back to brass tacks, just praying and trying to heal and bring people together. Really, really proud of all you guys.
It's amazing. And the energy, you know, just to sort of share with you, and I know we haven't talked in a little bit, but, you know, I've been on this journey. I've shared it pretty publicly. You know, I've been seeking. And when you get the answers, when it comes together, it's an amazing, as you know, feeling. And to have that community, it doesn't matter if you're in Texas, Connecticut, we are a community. And speaking of a community, I saw this on my feed just yesterday, and I just wanted to say, look at these two rock stars. I know these two people. That you know, I got a chance to actually give Victor a hug not that long ago out in Vegas at SHOT Show. I had not had the pleasure and the experience to meet you yet, Raven, but it's coming soon. On your own show, you got Victor in you. What's going on?
Oh yeah, we are bringing the frontline generals. You and I, Kevin, are the same type of warrior. You know, we don't want to just tell people what's wrong in the world. We want to tell people, you know, what they can do about it. Here's what's going on. Here's what we're going to do about it. And here's what the frontline generals are. We got to get behind these people who are doing it. They're doing the tough things that people don't want to. But yes, Victor is a good friend of mine. He just likes to hear me say Victor Avila. You know, so but yes, he's a great guy. He's shot 3 times, you know, for our country, and that's what it's really about. Not everybody can be on the front lines, so can't be on the front lines. I always say support those of us who are.
Well, you know, I just got to tell you, it makes my heart really feel really proud that we have a family of, you know, I call it my media family or whatever it is, our family here. We've grown this remotely. You know, they thought they were destroying us in COVID. They thought they were taking things away.
Yes.
They did give us one chance in COVID. They gave us ability for all of us to connect. And when they built that team, that's one that they never counted on us actually forming like we have. And I'm just so happy when I see that. What's going on with the show? What's going on with your show? What are you doing? I know we talk a little bit. I see you're developing a lot of content. I see you out there all over the place. What's going on with Raven?
We are. It's really important. Good morning, Paula. Good to see you, lovely. It's important, you know, that we remember as Christians, you know, if it was easy, anybody could do it. It doesn't mean God didn't say it was going to be easy. He said all things were possible. Not all things were easy. So we are doing it. The one thing that happened during the campaign when I was running for Congress was a lot of people trying to take my voice, pulling up our signs, trying to silence us. And no door that God opens can man close. So that's what we've been doing. We've been letting, you know, doing the faith walk and letting it go a step at a time, and let God open these doors. So I have been really fortunate. Raven's Radar is doing fantastic. We are tackling everything. We are taking everything that they're trying to hide from us and that they're trying to use to destroy this country, irrespective of Republican or Democrat, justice dies in the dark. So we got a big floodlight. So we've had Victor on talking about the real state of the border, getting engaged. We had Jackson Polishak, who came on. He was shunned by the institution. You didn't even know your money was woke. They are using, green governance, ESGs, to devalue 401ks. They are testing cryptocurrency. They are, still not moving as quickly as they need to on getting our J6ers out. I mean, we have a lot to do. So that's what Raven's Radar has been tackling. And we're going to be leaving right after this podcast with you, Kevin, today to we're going to do a road tour through our great, country. I'm going to hit state to state, going to conservative hotspots on our way to CPAC in Washington, D.C. next week.
Awesome. So we are going to see you in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
I believe we'll finally be able to, in flesh, get that hug out of the way. And you and Paul, I assume, will be there. Are you bringing the kids, or what's the deal with that?
Yes, the family is coming. My father
Awesome.
lives up in the D.C. area still.
Okay.
So he's got a historical property, 16 acres up there called Stonegate that he looks after. But yes, we're going to have, Paul has to fly back, and he still has that pilot thing going on. So
yeah.
He will be there.
He's got the JOB. He's got the JOB, and
Yes.
We got to keep him in that. So awesome to hear that. So yeah, a lot of energy, right? Positive energy right now.
Yes.
I'm so happy that you're finding your way through this, because you
Yes.
did. I met you a year ago
Yes.
when you were running for Congress,
Yes.
and you shared the experience then that even in the Republican Party, how dirty it is in that system. Talk a little bit about how you've matured since then, because that was an eye opener, right? You came into politics, bam, punched in the face by your own people.
Yes, it was. And it was a real eye opener. I would tell the voters the hardest part for me is I didn't have any expectations. I didn't feel like I was the great savior. I was really proud of myself for stepping up and doing what needed to be done. And I was absolutely floored. My mind was kind of set of ready to take on this ideology of the Democrats. I wasn't even looking in my own party. I wasn't even looking at Republicans. And I just had blinders on till I was hit in the face with it. Contacted various organizations. Hey, why was I left off of the voter guide? And one of them actually emailed back saying, we're sick of people like you. We're sick of minorities taking over our party. Our party? It was absolutely unreal, but we had two dynamics. We had the voters were fantastic. They engaged me. They asked questions. They put faith in me. And that meant more to me than anything. Is I just wanted the chance to tell them I'm not selling out. They've been so let down. We've been so betrayed by our electorate, people in office. And it's just really sad. They get there, they promise the moon, they sell out. And the difference is I just don't have that agenda. We can't hand our kids, Kevin, a world like this that we have screwed up beyond recognition and then just expect them to be able to figure it out. We better fix this, before we give it to the next generation. And that's where I am. So they can't lure me with money. I don't want to be Pelosi level rich. I mean, look what it's done for her. She's a horrible person. So I just don't aspire. This is supposed to be a patriotic duty, not an end career for corruption. We can't have these people in office for decades and decades and decades and nothing getting done, and lots of talk and lots of backdoor deals. And American people are just on life support right now. And that's what keeps me going.
Well, you talk about American people being on life support. Of course, we now know that most of the conversation that's kind of trending is how bad the situation in the Ukraine, now that it's scaled up, the president allocating more money, his surprise visit over to the theater. Your thoughts on what's going on with this situation, and how much should we be worried about possibly a third world war?
We should be worried about it. This is one of the benefits I have to being raised by Air Force colonels stationed in the Pentagon is we don't do conspiracy theories. Things follow a prescribed course. And this is what Reagan talked about with peace through strength. And this is what we couldn't make moderates and a lot of liberals understand about President Trump. President Trump is the tough kid you want in the schoolyard. When you're getting picked on and bullied, you need that someone who flexes strength. And he doesn't necessarily do it in a kind and fluffy bunny way, but he gets the job done. And that's what certain people need to understand there are people out there who just don't want to get along. They don't want to kumbaya. They don't want to get along. They want to conquer, devour, destroy. That's just the way it is. Been that way since the beginning of time. Attila the Hun, Stalin, Marx, Lenin, all these people, power hungry people who just, there's nothing you can throw at them that will make them, to make them get along. So we should be taking this. And when they smell weakness, Kevin, they smell the blood in the water, just like sharks. That's what we warn people with Biden, his weakness, his incompetence. You guys can tap dance all you want and say he's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. He's healthy. Bull crap. We all know it's crap. We can all see that he's not all there. And so can the enemy. So while you guys are all spending your time gaslighting, trying to make us believe that this isn't really happening, our enemies are swarming. We've got China and Russia now teaming up against us. Our military's depleted. While we've been doing social correctness in the military, they've been building up their forces. They control most of our debt. So this endless spending and these trillions in debt that we're in, guys, this is the problem. Either way, we're screwed. China owns most of our debt. If they call in our debt, if we default on our loans, we are done. And that's what's being prepped right now. That's why we can't just keep spending and all these green deals. And, he cut our energy independence. Now we're trying to sanction and negotiate with people we need oil from. It makes absolutely no strategic sense. We had a spy balloon traverse our entire country. He waited till it got all it needed and then shot it down. We didn't even retrieve it. I mean, this is inept leadership and it's dangerous. And this is what we warned everybody would happen with when we're playing these, these games, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Putin isn't playing around. He and the rest of the world, Biden is a joke. And the whole world knows it. And the sooner we kind of snap out of this and start dealing with what it is and realize that we need a strong leader to send a clear signal. Come on, guys. You guys know that if that spy balloon, the first nylon fiber that had touched our airspace, President Trump would have nuked that thing from the sky and sent China a bill for the missile.
True story. True story. And, one of the things we talk about is, this current administration, Joe Biden, he loves to grab the microphone. He loves to get up to the microphone. He loves to talk about his spirituality and his Christianity. He's a Christian. And yet he uses that as if it's part of his speech. Your thoughts on how divisive that is? I mean, it is using that as a tactic to try to bring people together when darn well this guy is nothing worse, nothing more than the devil. Your thoughts on exactly how we respond to that as a nation, because he's using it a lot. It's like this go-to thing, religion, religion, religion. Yet we know he doesn't speak or act that way, does he?
Correct. And the Bible is very clear on this. For those who choose to believe, God will not be mocked and insulted. And what he's doing is a mockery, because we know what Christians, the one thing people should really fear is the day, when we do meet our maker, if he looks at you and says, did I ever know you? And what he's doing right now in turning Christians away and perverting the Bible, it's not open to interpretation. The Bible is the Bible. The word is the word. Truth is truth. It's not your truth, Kevin, and my truth. It's the truth. What he's doing is blasphemy. It is horrific. You cannot stand up there and talk about God and talk about murdering, innocent life. It doesn't matter the reason. People come at me like that all the time. And what if they're raped? That doesn't change the innocence and the fact that it's life. It makes it a horrific circumstance. It does not change that it's alive. So him wanting that, the last Gallup poll that came out right before the State of the Union said that 68% of Democrats do not want him to run again. He is being hung out to dry. He's just the only one who doesn't know it because he's an obvious decline. The problem is he doesn't realize that nobody's taking him seriously. He was used to get Trump out of the way, and now that he's gone, they want him gone. And that's what you're going to see. He is destroying our country in record time, and we have to rally the troops now before it's too late. It's come to the realization too that many of the people in the Democratic Party right now, like our good friend here, Mayor Pete, I got to tell you, I wanted to like Mayor Pete. I know there's a lot of questions about his behavior. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, but unfortunately, Mayor Pete, he went out to Ohio and he's
he's in some hot water now himself, and very, very obvious that he's trying to disconnect from the administration. Any thoughts on what's going on with that?
He does. Pete Buttigieg's record is almost as horrible as Biden's. He has a history. We have had record supply chain shortages. His whole administration is a joke. I remember seeing him drive a dirty fossil fuel vehicle to 1.5 miles to the Capitol and then get out and pretend to bicycle to work. He spent 3 months chest feeding while we were having record supply issues and items not getting to the American people, baby formula shortage. He has been a disaster, and he is proof that all the Biden administration is first. We need the first purple astronaut. We need the first green, alien. They are all about first and not about qualifications. He is unqualified to do the job that he has been tasked to do, and it is obvious. That's why we are having these problems. The fact that it took 2 days for the governor to say anything, 12 days for the EPA to respond, and the President Trump, has made it there while Biden's wandering around the UK. I mean, it is absolutely inexcusable. They just showed that there's a 2-tier justice system. Okay, one for, Americans, which is beneath, other people they are funneling money to. So he went to his most premier laundromat in the Ukraine to funnel more money and devote more resources, while American citizens were left there with dead fish in the water, vomiting, convulsing, contaminated soil, contaminated water, and waiting days, 12 days, weeks, and then being told to evacuate with no resources. Where are they supposed to?
It's interesting. Where are they supposed to go? And, you got Donald Trump here, who made his own, trip out there. And a lot of people are criticizing him, but I think the American people appreciate him.
That's what leadership is. That's what leadership is he came, he listened, he provided water, he provided food, he provided an ear. Sometimes people just need to be heard. These people live here. They know what they need. They know what they need, and they got a deaf ear from the Biden administration. We had Reagan talking about going to Africa. We had Biden in the Ukraine. Okay, but yet he has time for Zelensky and the billions we funneled there, but he doesn't have time for the people in East Palestine, Ohio. Absolutely sickening, but we're going to keep, thank goodness for the leadership. That's what a strong leader does.
So we have something that's come about since we last talked, and a couple of things I want to cover is Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley's announced that she's running for office, and this is a time when the 2024 election, and we all know the importance of it. Raven,
yes.
Nikki Haley, like her or not, on a lot of levels, she's got the resume that would be needed to be a qualified candidate. She said that she called the former president, her boss, and talked to him, and he said, good luck and do your thing. And it seemed like it was a very cordial process. What's your thoughts on Nikki Haley and some of the criticisms like Don Lemon and some of the stupid things that we've seen since she's announced? Any thoughts on Nikki Haley?
Well, this is the beauty of our system, and it allows people to come in and try to make a difference and a change. So I applaud her for that. As far as me, I believe in loyalty. I believe it doesn't mean I have to agree with everything that President Trump says and does. What it means is that of all the credit, everybody who comes into the race, everybody who jumps into the race, they all have one thing in common. They're claiming to be able to do what President Trump has already done. He has already demonstrated the ability to produce a thriving economy, a boistering stock market, low unemployment. We didn't have wars everywhere. We didn't have problems with North Korea and the others. We had peace, and we have abandoned all of that. He put America first, and we know that that's a trigger for the left. America first. And I hate to break it to you, I'm not only America first, I'm a first American, Native American. That's what it means. It means that my ancestors were the original stewards of this land, and we love it. And there's room for all of us, to get along, but we have to get real and stop. So I applaud anybody who steps up to want to make a difference. But for me, when we're in the times that we're in now, Kevin, I didn't think I'd live to see a time that we're in right now. I want I don't want people guessing and telling me they think they can do it. I want somebody I know can do it.
Obviously, Got me right there where I was getting my drink. Thank you so much. Obviously, we are at a time when people are going to have to make some choices. And you talked about CPAC. Of course, we're going to be out there with you. John Paul Moran with Go USA has been so kind to invite us to do some speaking out there and get to all the functions. But the energy over the next, I'd say 16, 18, 20 months is going to be so excited and high. Where do you see this energy going? And how do we rally it around each other at the end so we can make sure that this country gets on the right direction as a united America, not divided?
I think that we need to take our inventory, Kevin. I think we need to realize the country is already divided. We're almost divided down the middle between, the conservative and the liberal movements. But now the one thing that you always see on the left is they always are unanimous. I mean, largely because I've spoken to a lot of people who are Democrats, and they're saying, if I speak out, if I say something, if I don't agree with this, I'm going to get canceled. So that's fear tactics. That's fear mongering. But, we have wishy-washy on the right. So what I would say is for people to take an inventory and look, we're already split down the middle. Do we now then want to split the half that we're on in half again and a quarter tearing each other apart? We should have the same unifying ideal, but not from oppression, but from people having the same, what is it we actually want? Okay. I want a strong president, a leader, and I want somebody who can fix and quickly undo a lot of the damage that's been done to our country. I don't want campaign promises. I don't want people who think they're going to be able to do it. I mean, I don't know that I could be president. We have to go with what it is. He has the resources, and we know that with the exception of JFK, Donald Trump was the only person who came into office wealthy. So he didn't need to sell out America to get rich. And it's just ironic that that's what drives people the craziest.
It's such a great point. It's such a great point you bring up. And I was just talking with Paula yesterday about AOC and her wealth she's gained. And,
Yes.
One of the things that drives me crazy is anyone who's in elected office, there's ethics claim. You have an ethic, you have to swear to it and sign off on it. You're going to be ethical during your time. I serve.
Yes.
And you've got to take that serious. How can people write books, make millions and millions of dollars while they're serving on the taxpayer's dime? They're developed. That's like RIP. We own that. They should be able to benefit, at least like a lobbyist. Go 3-4 years out, then you can write your memoirs. But you can't while they're in office. It really frosts my behind. I'm going to tell you.
Well, no, that's part of it. AOC was a broke bartender, and after 6 years of making $155,000 a year, she is now worth $29 million. Nancy Pelosi used to bring up bills for a vote after she and her husband were heavily invested or sold stock in these things. So we now know why she's worth $294 million. Even if she had taken no taxes out of her salary for 40 some years, she could not amass that kind of wealth. And we all know it. So the American people this is why they come into office, which is another good argument for term limits, because they shouldn't be there long enough to be able to accrue this kind of wealth, especially when we're in this crippled inflation, and people should not be struggling like this. I don't begrudge, I love capitalism. I really do, but you're a government servant. There's no such thing as government funded. It is all taxpayer funded. The government has no money. It is our money. It is our taxes. And them giving it to Ukraine when Americans are suffering, them giving it to Ukraine when our border is wide open, them taking these kickbacks and handouts from people who hate us, unacceptable, un-American, and we honestly can't take it anymore. That's why our economy is on life support.
It's true. And it's sad because so many people fall for it. And, I want to ask you this last question. What can people do? What can we do? Your opinion, Raven, if you were going to give a 30-second elevator speech to America, how we can make it, make the positive changes and do something in our own communities, what can we do?
I tell people, when they say, what are you going to do? Something, anything. So the important thing is to learn to think for yourself, process your own information. I don't watch any of the mainstream media. I'm a contributor to a couple of them. I still don't watch because I want my news. I want my information unfiltered. I go to multiple sources, and I stay informed, and then I just try to stay ahead. The biggest thing, a lot of times, if I had $1 for every time somebody said, I didn't know that was happening. I didn't know they were doing that. Didn't know they were dipping into our 401k. Didn't know they were testing digital currency in the bank. Didn't know, Biden's touting that the border numbers are dropping. That's not true. He's made an app to allow people just to put in data and walk on through. So technically, and they're not even counting. That's what Victor was talking about on our show. They're not counting illegal border crossings anymore. So they don't have an accurate, that's it's lying. They are lying. So people are under the impression that they don't know. They do know, they're lying. So we need to get involved. If you haven't spoken to your elected officials, it's a good time. If you don't know what to do, reach out to our Connecticut Cowboy, reach out to me, get involved with those of us who are. If you can't be out there at the rallies, if you can't be out there, watching bills, but do you know what your congressman is voting on? Do you? Do you know how they're going to vote? You need to be involved. We've paid too high of a price for not paying attention to what the people we elected are doing, and we're paying a heavy price for it. So get involved.
And so I would say to you, just to wrap that up with one yes or no answer, when you say they, you mean Republicans and Democrats. We can't trust any of them.
Yes.
We got to verify and vet them out, correct?
That's why I say I'm a conservative first. Yes, because both parties have a lot of work to do.
There it is. Raven Harrison, thank you so much for coming on. We will talk to you soon. Down in Texas, go and check her out. Now, is there a new podcast, or is it still, what's going on? I didn't ask you those questions.
We've got ravenharrison.com. So that's a hub that you can get any of our information. But on social media, we have not only Raven the Conservative Warrior, but Raven's Radar. And the podcast is available on everywhere that a podcast is available: Rumble, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. So check it out. The guests are barn burners.
Awesome stuff. Go and check out Raven. We will talk soon, Raven. See you in CPAC. Give Paul my best. There you go. Back in a minute, we'll have Darryl, the Polarbear Gibbs from Colorado. Back in a minute, the truck driver who tells you like it is.
Trump was the vaccine America needed. He exposed the deep state and fought back against the woke maniacs destroying everything Americans revered. They attacked George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. They took over the NFL, the FBI, and the NBA. Trump stood alone against the Leviathan longing to destroy the United States from within. A.J. Rice, author and president of Publius PR, takes on this Leviathan in his new book, The Woking Dead: How Society's Vogue Virus Destroys Our Culture. He understood why America needed Trump even before it was in vogue. Rice is the ultimate DC media insider who has produced or promoted Laura Ingraham, Judge Jeanine Pirro, Donald Trump Jr., Dan Bongino, Charles Krauthammer, Alan Dershowitz, Peter Navarro, Victor Davis Hanson, and many more. Many of Trump's closest advisors have sought out A.J. Rice's media advice. Rice has fought behind the scenes for years in ways you saw and heard but never understood until now. Hilarious, biting, hard-hitting. Available on Amazon.com. Stop what you're doing right now and pick up a copy of The Woking Dead.
We are being censored. America's news outlets no longer provide the truth. 90% of news outlets in the United States are controlled by 6 corporations. They're not out to tell you the truth of what's happening. They're out to tell you the picture of the world that they represent. The mission of the Epoch Times is to chase the truth, to ground all statements in facts, and prevent people from being misled. The Epoch Times is independent. We're not controlled by any special interest, and we never will be. This is a battle between truth and deceit, a battle between forces that would ensnare this country in ignorance, and between a media that wants to present you with the truth. Subscribe today to our digital edition at theepochtimes.com and join the Americans who are seeking truth and tradition. Read the difference on all your devices. We'd love to have you on board.
Cowboy, the Kevin Allen Show welcomes you to today's show. So, sit back, relax, and put your thinking caps on, and remember to share, like, and subscribe.
And welcome back. And here we are. The party gets bigger. There's no saying goodbye to Raven. When you say goodbye to Raven, that means just hello. And so she's back at the request of our next guest, Darryl, which I'm glad. I didn't want to tell you to leave. And then, now Darryl, you actually made me look like a stooge. Thanks for inviting her back. You're a jerk.
Hey,
What's up,
me.
D?
What's up, Raven? What's up, Kevin? Good to see y'all again. How y'all doing?
Good. How you doing? How you doing?
Excellent.
Oh man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We had a heck of a show last night. And,
Yeah.
there's this one lady came on about the January 6th thing.
Mhm.
And when you talked to me about it earlier, a couple of episodes back, and I told you how I felt and the things I observed from different stuff that I've seen, and then using common sense, she verified every damn thing that I said.
Mhm.
Everything
Mhm.
that, and then they're coming out now with all this stuff about January 6th. Well, they should have came out with it before. I think it's time to close this mess, get past
Come
it, and then if we're going to deal with that, then we need to take care of all these dipshits that was on the 8 weeks of love. We need to start taking care of them too and make them accountable.
There you go. And so, Raven, the January 6th issue, you talked about it a little bit earlier, too. And so now we're seeing things be released since Kevin McCarthy and the conservative sort of people took positions in Congress. Is this going to change anything, Raven? You think it's just going to be same old politics? Are they going to go back and maybe release some of these people and do the right thing?
Well, it will if we let it go to that. I mean, I haven't seen enough action. The first action the House said they wanted to take was to fire the IRS action. The first action should have been to get our political prisoners out. These people are held without due process. This is not communist China. So we should have done that now. Apparently, Kevin McCarthy released the footage to Tucker Carlson. So get the popcorn. It's going to be, but yes, we're going to see, but why people should be asking, why didn't they release that? That's the holy grail of law enforcement is video that shows what happened. But instead we had to do the parade with the vodka queen while she interviewed person when we could just let us see the footage. And so
you know what? Shame on every one of those people on the committee, Shift, and all these rest of these, the Liz Cheney, the shamed Cheney family. Shame on them all. Darryl, I mean, when you talk about it, you ran for lieutenant governor in Colorado. You were running, and that getting into that position, you'd have to expose the truth. Are you happy right now, Darryl, that they're actually going to expose everything once and for all? That we can see the video.
It's about damn time they did. I'm just getting sick and tired of all these politicians hiding under a bunch of lies. You have the media, and unfortunately, we have a media that's not even fair anymore. They don't report the news like they did back in the day. They're bought and paid for, and it just seemed like some of these people that we elected, we need to have term limits, and we need to start holding people accountable. Because this the thing is, we're pointing fingers, but. We'll point fingers, but we don't hold anyone accountable for their actions. Like Nancy Pelosi, her ass needs to be dragged in, and they need to hold her accountable for her actions and not bringing in the military. Also, how the military was treated when they came in. So I hope they do this. They do this correctly. They get to what was hidden, and the people who are responsible. They get brought to justice, and they get done. They have consequences dealt with on them, and they fulfill it, because it's, again, we're in a country right now where you can do something stupid and there is no recourse for it, and we have to stop that. And that includes
I do it every day on the show. I appreciate that. I can do something stupid every day on my show, and I can get away with it because it's America, right? We live in America, the greatest country on earth. And I want to ask you both, kind of roundtable this one here. I went out to this function the other day. I talked to Darryl when I was on the road, and Raven, I was out here at Asbury, the Revival 2023, and it says goes on here. We do know that they've kind of stopped the thing, but it's taking off across the country. I want to ask you both, what's your thoughts on what took place at Asbury and this inspiration for people to turn to the church right now seems to be very, very, very hot and on fire. Your thoughts first, Raven, you, and then we'll go to Darryl.
I definitely want to comment. I just want to interject one thing, Kevin, that if for people who are wanting to get a pre-start, the Epic Times has released, they have a documentary that releases the footage on J6. I want you to pay particular note to the fact that Nancy Pelosi called for a tank to mow down those citizens on the Capitol. She called for a tank to come gun down protesters in there. But for the revival, amazing. Okay, we need God back. We were a better nation when we respected God and feared God. And we were a nation founded on Judeo-Christian principles. We need to get back to the brass tacks. I'm so proud of these students for standing up and showing how you can non-violently make a difference and impact people.
50,000 people, they say, estimated converged. I was one of them. I was so privileged. I got the, I have my thing here that they gave me actually as that's my media pass. They wrote it on it. It's simple. And that historically means to me that I was a part of history. Darryl, I talked to you when I was on my way out there. I didn't even know where I was going. 3 times I wanted to turn around because I'm 8.5 hours from where I was and another 14 or 16 hours home, but I did it. Darryl, your thoughts? I mean, you're a truck driver. You travel all the time. It was well worth it, I explained, but what's your thoughts about how that energy can change and how do we go forward, Darryl, to encourage other people to do that?
Well, you listen to that inner voice. That inner voice was telling you something, and it was telling you to keep going, even though you wanted to turn around. Because there's times when I'm driving a truck, I have to listen to my inner voice, and when you do, it will do wonders for you. And you were led there. Period.
Yes.
You were led there, and like I always tell people, everything happens for a reason. Good, bad, it happens. And what you went through, because you called me, and you're just like, all right, I'm going, but I'm not sure, and I'm proud of you, dude, because you just went on, and for the things that you've been going through, you have been blessed and you've been led on this path. And we need to start getting people in the office that believes in God, because right now, and I'm going to tell you right now, folks, and you can get mad at me if you want, the Democratic Party has always been a part of evil. I'm not saying all people of the Democratic Party evil. I will never say that, because there are some good people in the Democratic Party, but the things they have passed and what they have done is just evil. Biden, I'm just going to call it out. He's an evil individual. For him to just disregard America, and for these kids to come out 50,000 strong plus, man, that's telling you that God, even though everybody said, well, we're coming to the end of times, but at the same time, God's going to sit back and say, okay, what are you going to do to help fight against this evil? And people like all of us and those people that you went with, they're all standing up and saying, we are going to fight till the bitter end. Because like this guy I listen to all the time, his music, Aaron Lewis, like he always have said, you may not believe in God, but in the end, everybody's going to talk to God, period.
I believe that. And, Raven, I know your spirituality is something that you often refer to, your family community, your parents serving in the military. We talk a lot, and, Darryl, his connection to the military as well. How important is it to get back to that feeling of patriotism, right? Remember when it was like cool to love your country?
Yes.
And now we get celebrities that want to, have us spend our money on them. And they want to, shit all over America. How do we get rid of that? How do you teach your kids not to look at Hollywood, but to look at Americans, patriots who are heroes?
We say enough. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when my kids could watch the Super Bowl halftime. We don't watch anymore, but the flyovers, come on, Kevin, Darryl, that used to be it. Waited for the national anthem to finish. So then the 14s at 50, whatever, would fly over and it would just roar the crowd. And it was a great time to be an American. We were so proud. It didn't mean that we were perfect as a nation. It meant we were just proud of ourselves. And now the hate we get from people who've never served it, never given anything to it, have never been outside of it. And yet all they can do is bring themselves to criticize and what's wrong with America. Hey, I hate to break this to you. You're probably it. It says, 1 out of 4 is a racist. If you can't figure out who it is, it's probably you. So we have to, we have to start demanding. What that showed is, I said this on the campaign trail, if we're the majority, why are we silent? And that's what these students did. Why are we silent? And for the ones who sent me a little hate behind, I got a few text messages. Everything that was made has a maker. That was the Holy Spirit talking to you. God is a spirit. He speaks to your spirit. Okay. And, he's there. That's the difference. You have a choice whether you want to love and believe and accept his goodness. You can choose to do what Biden and the rest of them do. But I can just tell you, there's a strict immigration policy for heaven, and hell has open borders.
And on the thing on the military, and I'm currently serving in the reserves, and there is a lot of us. There's a lot of people out there. It's a lot more than what they're showing. That is very patriotic. They believe in the military. They love what we do. And unfortunately, we have history that have erased a lot of good things that the military has done. And a lot of inventions that we have today is because of the military. And, and people, they just need to understand that. And again, we have people that are in charge. I think they need to do some military, because you just see Nancy Pelosi and what the Democrats has done. They do not respect us. And Donald Trump,
you know what amazes me though, Darryl? You know what's amazing?
Yeah.
You just said that, and Raven, you're going to jump onto this one too. In all the time that we see in history, we had the Bush-Cheney era. They were military mongers. They wanted to go and kill the world. We all know that. That's Republicans, by the way. I'm sorry, I'm standing by that. And now you fast forward. We had some conflicts, obviously, that Barack Obama had, but I'm going to say overall, Barack Obama wasn't terrible. I'm not going to say he was great, but the worst possible president has been this most recent, because 4 years of Donald Trump, not one conflict in the world with us involved. In fact, if anything, we downsized our military into a sensible position where we could defend America. They focused on the southern border under that administration. This one comes in, holy hell takes loose. And now we're shipping people from Afghanistan, our troops up to the Ukraine border. And now it looks like the Third World War could be knocking on our door.
It is, but I got to disagree with you on this one, Kevin. I do think, that Obama is the worst. And the reason is because all the destruction, these policies, this mindset, this division, this started with him. Okay, and he's still pulling the strings, which is why it looks like that he's got the perfect cover right now, because everybody knows Biden's not there. They know he's not. So all he has to do is every little wish list he had to destroy America, he can do in the veil of secrecy. And then Biden gets the blame. When this all goes and the nukes start flying, they're going to go, oh, well, it's Joe. So I believe that this is an extension of the Obama. He didn't get a chance to finish destroying us, and that's why he's now on his third term.
But they'll probably blame Trump. But Darryl, your thoughts on that?
Well, okay. Now there's two things. Number one, Trump stopped some conflicts, because if you remember, Syria was gassing their own people. Russia decided they want to jump in and side on him, and Trump said, "Okay, I'm warning you right now, and we're going to do action." And Russia decided to stay. So Trump ended up dropping the mother of all bombs from a C-130. Hell yeah. And you've seen what happened. All of a sudden, Russia got quiet. So all of a sudden, Russia got quiet. Now, let's go to Ukraine. Now, when Ukraine gave away their nuclear arsenal, we as the United States said, anytime you need us, we will be there for you. Now, Obama came in, and Ukraine we got in trouble. And what did he do? We'll give you blankets. He didn't do anything militarily. And I think absolutely, if we went in and strong like Trump and said, look, we gave these people a promise, we're going to go and defend them, and you, NATO, us to defend these people, I think right now we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in now. But we are, because we have some people that are just plain old evil. You look at, and again, you have Obama. What does he know about the military? Nothing. Biden, nothing. Donald Trump, at least he went to he was a cadet. At least he has a little bit. I'll give him that. So it's just right now a lot of, again, based on history, on things that we have done, promises that we're supposed to keep, we do not keep them. And we need to start having a strong administration that's going to start at least keeping our promises. We need to have people, and I honestly believe if you're going to be president of the United States, you got to have a little bit of a military background behind you, because if not, you have no. There you go. Because if not, you have no clue what is going on, and you have to be able to listen. And a lot of these people, they come in, they do not come in with good intentions, And I mean, the track record of Biden, this whole thing with Biden, I mean, it's a complete sham. Everybody knows it. We can see that. I
But
don't like Biden.
we also see Kamala Harris, who is in the
Oh,
vaccines, and she doesn't seem any more qualified. It's almost as if this was handpicked, this team, to what Raven's saying, to deflect from what's really happening. I mean, I think Michelle Obama's in the back, getting ready to actually make a leap. I say it again. I believe she'll be the 2024 nominee for president. I truly believe that. I think Kamala Harris will get Secretary of State. It will be the quid pro quo that's set up, and they'll try to run that ticket. Who's going to be her vice president? I don't know, but I truly believe that. I hope I'm wrong, because
Gavin,
I think she can win.
I think Gavin, but yeah, that's, we have a saying here in Texas, when all hell breaks loose, we send in the clowns. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's what you're seeing like that. So I think
Yeah.
it would be Gavin that she
Yeah.
would, so if you want to know where the rest of our strategic oil reserve is.
Mm-hmm.
well, I think
Yeah,
it's kind of sad. I think it's kind of sad that we're always depending on rich people, and we're depending on lawyers, and that's a problem that we have had for a long time. Our government was not made for lawyers. Our government system was not made for just lawyers, was not made just for rich people. It was made for even common people to be able to come into power and be able to contribute, because a lot of people who are poor, a lot of people who are working class people, they have more knowledge. They don't have to be a lawyer. They don't have to take political science. Their mommy and daddy doesn't have to be in the political world all the time. We have people that are so smart that they can figure things out and be able to run this nation and be able to help lead people. But we have this thing that we always have to go with a lawyer. Well, we have to go with someone who is rich, that says, okay, we can fix America. Because when if you look at it, they don't understand how regular people live. They don't
Nope.
care how regular people live. And we got to get past that. And now hopefully someone steps up. And if they do, that they get some backing behind them. So then that way we can really be able to get this nation going forward, because there's so much stuff that needs to be fixed that I'm just sick. It's just, even when I ran for lieutenant governor here in Colorado, all these rich people, and none against rich folks, because that's why we play the damn lottery. But we depend on these people so damn much that they screw everything up. And then we sit back and we say, well, why are they messing things up? Because they don't have no clue what the real world is about. And we got to start getting to that.
If
We
they don't know
do.
what a
I
loaf
gotta
of bread
tell
is
you-
and a gallon of milk, so go ahead, Raven. We'll wrap
I
it up
got to
here.
tell you, I'm giving you guys, this is a freebie I'm going to give. You want to shut it down? I was in a debate against the idiot I was trying to unseat, 20-year swamp preacher who said that babies masturbate in utero. But when you go up to the debate, and this is how you have to give people and voters what Darryl was saying in a form they can digest. And I said it just like this, because he looked at me, he's like, we need experienced leadership, Raven. I said the Titanic had experienced leadership too. The Ark was built by amateurs. Okay, so that's what you need to remind people. And I'm telling you, that was the gasp heard right around the world for the establishment when I said the Titanic had experienced leadership too, because people hadn't thought of it. But look at our government the same way. If they need experience, well, then what's taking so long? You guys have been there for decades. I also want to mention, do you guys notice that Russia is always the whipping toy of the left? It's never Ukraine. But, Pelosi, Kerry, Biden all had children who sat on the energy boards and received millions from the Ukraine. But it's always Russia. Whenever they got mad at Trump, he's a Russian asset. Tulsi Gabbard's a Russian asset. Russia. So I just want to let people then notice the amount of billions we're giving to the Ukraine. All of them have children who sit there and receive money from the Ukraine. We didn't talk about the biolabs that were in there when Russia first came on the border either. But I just want to make that's the gaslighting. You look at Russia while we're just funneling billions.
Well, we know they are a laundering country. They're known for laundering. Why they're not a part of NATO is because they don't want to open the books up so they can prove what's going on. And this has been the Gaslighting 101. Darryl, finish up your thoughts as we wrap up this great Friday edition.
All right. Okay, I want to mention something that's going on in Colorado, because we have the Democratic Party here. They're busy trying to take away the guns and things, which is a bunch of BS. And at the same time, there's a friend of mine. Her name is Brandy Bradley on HD 39, House District 39. And yesterday, she put up a bill and to stop China and all our adversaries from buying farmland here in Colorado. And of course, the Democratic Party here in Colorado decided to say no. Now, see, we're having a problem with this because there's no reason for China or anyone who is our enemy to own any farmland, to own any property next to a military installation, own anything that deals with our food, nothing. They should never have anything to do with it. They need to get their money back and tell them to get the hell out of the United States and stay the hell out. So I appreciate Brandy
We're
for
doing
doing
the same thing in Texas. So our ag commissioner, Sid Miller, is on the front line of that, of making sure he just put the legislation up to stop China. And next to our power grids, next to our military bases, you know, a lot of things that people don't realize but we can't own any in their country. Try to go buy some farmland in China.
Exactly. That's not happening. It's not happening. What is happening is we have a weekend here. I want you guys to go out and have a great weekend. Raven, Darryl, thank you so much. I appreciate you both so much. Back in a moment, we'll wrap up the Kevin Allen Show.
We are being censored. America's news outlets no longer provide the truth. 90% of news outlets in the United States are controlled by 6 corporations. They're not out to tell you the truth of what's happening. They're out to tell you the picture of the world that they represent. The mission of the Epoch Times is to chase the truth, to ground all statements in facts, and prevent people from being misled. The Epoch Times is independent. We're not controlled by any special interest, and we never will be. This is a battle between truth and deceit, a battle between forces that would ensnare this country in ignorance, and between a media that wants to present you with the truth. Subscribe today to our digital edition at theepochtimes.com and join the Americans who are seeking truth and tradition. Read the difference on all your devices. We'd love to have you on board.
And we're back right here to wrap up the Friday show, the live show that we just did with our guests, both big fans of Darryl out there in Colorado. Of course, Darryl shared his journey running for lieutenant governor and the pitfalls that came along with that. He shared it not as a Republican, as a libertarian, as an independent running race out in Colorado. Him and Danielle, they did a hell of a job, but they just couldn't break through that ceiling of politics and corruption. You know, Raven Harrison, who had her own experience. We talked with Raven a year ago when we first met her, when she was running for the congressional seat in Texas, in North Dallas, Texas. And she shared her own story, even commented today on it, whether you caught it or not. It's really about the corruption within the party. And so I know we're sitting here where we're doing a lot of critiquing of the administration currently. And in all fairness, that's what they're there for. I mean, that's what the news media seems to be fancy to do, right? Cover news. Although we do see in the corporate media world that corporate media really doesn't cover fairly. This administration seems to get a pass on every level. I mean, you could pull up CNN right now.com. You go ahead, CNN.com, breaking news. You'll find in the headlines everything but the southern border. Everything but the fact that we have 100,000+ fentanyl deaths in this country at the hands of this administration, its failures at the southern border. No, the CNN's not talking about that. Was it less than 10,000 people died in Ukraine? I'm sorry, I don't want one person to die. That's not my point. But at our own border, where we could actually protect the people of this country, the men and women who are dealing with addiction created by government-endorsed pharmaceutical companies issuing drugs to its people to create the zombies that we see walking around this country. You wonder why we have people that are homeless in California, living on the streets, in Los Angeles, all over, in Vegas. I have not been to one part of this country and haven't seen homelessness. And I've been doing some traveling. Every time I turn somewhere, we see more homelessness, more despair, more broken humans than ever before. Why? Some of you are going to say, because of Donald Trump, he caused it. Guys, come on. You cannot use that excuse anymore. 2+ years of this administration, we're engaged in war, really on the brink of a third world war. We're watching Putin team up with China. Now, that is a dangerous move, but this is not surprising. And many critics have been calling for it. Many of it. And think about the theater that's been disrupted even in the Asian continent. You think about what's going on over there with China making these bold moves. You got North Korea now squirming. But yet, we don't see any of that on corporate media. What we see on corporate media is everything other than that. We've got Murdoch trial. They're going to cover that. That's a big story. Nothing beats a good story like an old murder case. And he's a scumbag. Who cares? It's not the point. The point is that we get played time and time again. And by the way, there's not many media outlets left that really do tell the truth. And even if I think that Biden's the worst guy in the world, there's something he did positively, we should acknowledge the truth if it's fact. But we unfortunately can't see that because the only thing we see is what's created by the corporate media partners of this movement in America. And unfortunately, it's going to continue to drive a wedge between us. This 2024 election is going to be the one that actually, I think, pushes us over the top. I truly do believe that we are going to see some dangerous times ahead. But I feel very confident right now that we have hope in this country. I saw it last Sunday when I was at Asbury University. I saw hope. I saw what it looks like to actually look to something more, so look to something that you can't actually see in the vision of God, but you can see in others and its actions. And I witnessed this room last week, and I think that's the promise. And not to get all holy roller on you here, but you got to look for something bigger than you, right? You can't keep looking at the sky and thinking you're going to figure it out. You got to talk to somebody. You got to work with somebody. You got to work with your community. You got to start to solve problems. And to Raven and actually Darryl, we talked about that. Like, honestly, there's lots of great Democrats right now that are really probably frustrated, and they feel like, oh, I can't get down with this. I can't switch over to that side, so to speak. I can't come to the middle, even though I know this is crazy. Guys, start to think for yourself. Don't let a party tell you how to think, how to vote, where you go, who you talk to, who you work with. Go out and be independent, but be independent with one goal, which is to live that dream, that American dream. See, if we can unite on just the simple things, the things we can agree on, we can unite this country once again. And I do believe that's possible if we don't let them do all the talking. We'll see you next week, maybe Monday, Tuesday. I don't know when. We're going to be down at CPAC. We'll be talking about that as well. All that and more. The Kevin Allen Show. Talk to you guys soon, I guess. Hang in there. Have a great weekend. And don't give up. There's a lot of good things ahead.
Thank you for watching today's show. Now go out and do good things. Please subscribe for the latest updates and remember to like, share, and comment often.
Cowboy, the Kevin Allen Show.